Welcome to the podcast, you guys.
Hey, thanks.
Good to be here.
Yes, pleasure having you guys on. So we have Donielle Farrar, Tom Farrar with St. James Oil, correct? That's the name of you guys' business?
Yep.
So we're going to start off, I want to start off talking about that, if you guys don't mind, because I know very little about it. And Dan Breeden's the one that was really, when he came on the podcast, he's like, you need to have these guys on. Because I guess you guys have been a big impact in his life, trying to help push him to where he is now. And he seems to be doing great now.
Yes.
I mean, he's came a long way, and
He has come a long way.
you know, his story, I had no clue that it was what it was. Like I guess I watched it over the years, but I never really actually. That's why I love these podcasts, because you get to sit people down, you actually get to learn their background, and there's a lot of people that have listened to the podcasts that have heard other people's stories, and like I had no clue about any of that, and so I'd like to talk about you guys' journey. So did you guys start St. James Oil?
No, we didn't start it. It was actually Delano Oil Company, and it had been in business for like 80 plus years. And my cousin actually started there shortly after high school, and was working there, and he heard through the grapevine that they were looking for somebody to buy it. They were going to sell that portion of it. The job I was working at the time, it was going whenever, it was like in 2010, whenever the market was going down, and I started getting my pay cut. They started bouncing you around, and instead of doing your regular job, you had to go do other jobs. And one day I was just thinking, you know what? I can screw my life up just as easy as somebody else screwing my life up. So I started looking for something, and this just happened to be laid in our lap just about that time.
So were you guys in the industry, similar industry? You guys weren't?
No.
Really?
Nope,
No clue what we were getting into.
nothing.
So you guys approached them about buying it? You guys had heard it, and then you went and approached them about.
Yeah, my
buying
cousin
it.
basically approached him because he'd been working with him for probably 10 or 12 years at that time. So he had a good rapport with him, and so we bought it with my cousin is what we did.
Okay, is your cousin still involved in it?
Yep, he still is involved.
What's
And
his name?
Justin Groover.
Justin Groover. Is he from that area? I
He
guess.
is. He's from the St. James area.
So he was able to really help you guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
tremendously.
came to us with the proposition to start it.
Sure. Well, that helps a lot. I feel like.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we wouldn't go, or we couldn't have done it if Donielle didn't come along, because she's been a huge part of it.
And what do you mean by that?
So when it came to us to approach us for Tom to buy it with him, I had no intentions of going to work. I was 100% on board to support them, and I did their business plan. Like, I did it all for them. Like, well, good to go. You know, I've got the business aspect of the background, everything that they needed, but I
Like,
had
is
no
that what you
intentions.
did?
So, like, in my history,
Prior?
and I always feel like everything we do sets us up for what's to come. So I was in banking, I was an insurance salesman, and I was an office manager, all leading up to this, which is all of what we needed in St. James Oil Company. So whenever we were doing our business plan, they always ask for mentors, you know, people you can look at in case something starts happening. Who do you look towards for those answers? So our accountant, our banker, and our lawyer all said, you have to go. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, you have to go.
Well, somebody in her position has to be. They see everything, they touch everything, and it's easy to hire somebody that can go astray.
Do you think
take
is
a little
that
money here and there?
Yeah,
you
is
know,
that like a
sometimes.
greed thing?
It is, and they needed somebody, or they wanted us to have somebody we could trust, because when you're starting a new business and you're just average working class individuals and you're going in debt a whole lot of money, you don't need somebody stealing money from you up front. And so they basically, she didn't have a chance. She had to come along.
You got forced into a position though.
Yeah, she didn't have a chance. She
Yeah,
had to
whenever
come
we
along.
started, I actually told my employers, I'm like, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. You know, I'm just here to support them. And then a few months later, I was
One
like,
thing led to another.
okay, well, apparently I was wrong.
And then apparently I lied, because I told her she only needed to work there 5 years, and it was 10 years in September. So
Yeah. Now, it's gotten easier though. As time's gone on, it's
Times
really
have
kind of easier.
changed. So I don't know that, I mean, the aspect of the industry, learning it and everything, when we started, I was working 12, 15-hour days, 7 days a week, just because we had to get new software, new programs. We actually had a huge employee turnaround because at the time that we started, the employees that they had wasn't aware of the changes that were coming. They just knew something was going on.
Yeah.
So they were already looking for jobs.
Yeah, they
whenever
thought they
we
were gonna be
bought
out of
it.
a
Right,
job.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, immediately I was on my own in the office trying to do everything. So it was
Well,
a lot starting out.
I definitely want to come back to this, but for anyone that's listening to the podcast, let's tell them what the company is. How would you describe what the business is?
It's basically an oil distribution center. We can deliver bulk oil, which would be to any of your like tire places or any of your quick lubes and stuff like that. We sell case oils because they'll buy some of those. We sell
Like the tubs of oils that any type of mechanic shop might use.
any mechanic shop.
Like if you're going in and getting an oil change,
Yeah.
you guys are the one delivering those because
Right.
they're not buying it by the quart like we buy it.
Right.
Most of them don't.
Yeah.
They're going to buy by the drum or by our bulk oil, which is going to be your cheapest options. And then we have a line of filters, Valvoline filters that we sell with it. Because we sell Valvoline oil and then we sell Thrive oil. Thrive is what we consider a house oil. That's going to be a little bit cheaper oil than your premium brand names, but it's going to be just as good an oil.
Same specs.
Same specs.
Now, Valvoline itself, what kind of is it just Valvoline or do they have like lower lines as well?
Pretty well, there's going to be different levels of Valvoline, from conventional oil to semi-synthetics to full synthetics. And the way the world is evolving, every time there's a new year that pops out, they want to give you a new spec for oil. From 520s, 530s used to be the thing. Now it's really 020s. There's some 040s. There's some 016s.
They like to change things a lot.
So
016?
016.
I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah, it's not as popular as the 020, but the 040 I think has been the last couple of years because we're starting to get a lot of calls for it.
Zero's really thin oil.
Yes.
It's pretty thin. Because I don't know why, when I was growing up and I was always doing my own oil changes, I think every truck I've ever had was like 5W20 or 5W30 probably.
Yeah.
But I always put 10W30 in it for some reason. And I think they always smoked or they always like use a little oil, so I always put a little thicker stuff in it.
Hang on a little longer.
Probably
Yeah.
with your parents and everything, because like my grandpa or my parents, it would have always been 1030.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
The older stuff was always 1030?
Yeah. And when we first bought the business, and this has only been 10 years ago, we still sold a lot of 1030, a little bit of 1040, not much, and a lot of 530. Well, now you sell, your two biggest sellers are 530 and 020, and everything else falls in between. The 1030s are almost a thing of the past.
What's a 016 going into?
Most of those are little foreign cars.
That's so interesting that a 020,
Yep.
it's not it. You got to go 016.
Gotta
Like
go
it's,
further.
but I guess that's a good thing. I guess somebody out there is doing the work to figure out like, hey, this is what this needs.
Yep.
So you guys just sell oil and oil filters.
And
No.
batteries, tires.
Oh wow. Okay.
We got a mechanic.
Distribution though. You guys,
Yes,
distribution.
the wholesale basically.
you guys
So-
like a customer, like just anyone can't just walk in. You guys building and buy.
Depending. So we do have people that walk in. We do have farmers. Our wholesalers have a different rate, obviously, because of the huge amount that they purchase. But we also have, so when we started at St. James Oil, we were at a location that Delano was already at. The warehouse was not in great shape at all. So about 5 years ago,
2016 is when we moved in.
we were able to purchase property across town and build our own warehouse and a new office building.
What size is the warehouse? Just out of pure curiosity, because that intrigues me.
It's not huge. I mean, it's about 100 by 150 is what we keep most stuff in. Then we have tanks that we can hold probably 60,000 gallons of bulk oil.
Oh
And
wow.
then we have the tire warehouse.
And then we have the tire warehouse. We actually, once we bought the company, a year later we bought the land, and then it was 2 or 3 years later after that we actually built on it. But we bought the old sale barn that was in St. James. So anybody that has ever been around St. James, we bought 8 acres there and
Built it there, huh?
built it there.
Cool.
But we actually opened St. James Tire and Auto as well
Also.
there.
Oh, okay, so you guys actually have a tire shop
Right.
Yeah.
as well with it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not you guys don't just sell them as wholesale. You guys also have a tire shop that goes with it.
Correct.
Yeah, and we kind of started that up because having sales cars, having as much vehicles, and having a lot of you have to pay mechanics anyway. So we kind of opened it up for ourselves, and then, it's for the public also, but basically to help us out. So
Cool.
if you can always pay yourself, it's always easier to pay yourself than to pay somebody else and not
Yeah,
get the
absolutely.
return off of it.
Save
So,
save a little bit of money where you can.
Yeah.
So how many employees you guys got? That's something I want to know.
13.
Yeah, I was going to say 15, but you're probably right. It's probably 13.
Is that including with the tire shop?
Should be a tire shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the guys that work in the tire shop, they don't work in like the warehouse and things like that.
No, 2 different companies.
2 different companies.
Okay, 2 totally separate things, but that's 13 combined with the 2.
Correct.
Yep.
But you guys got to have someone that's in sales. Who's the sales guy? Is that you, Tom?
I take care of the salesman, and then we have we had 3 salesmen, and with after COVID hit, it's hard to hire anybody out there for anything. So we're kind of down to 2 salesmen.
But they've been able to combine the territories to where the 2 salesmen really work well.
And we basically run from West Plains to Springfield.
West Plains is very bottom of Missouri.
Yeah.
As far down as you can go.
Yeah, so we go from West Plains, and we go a little bit farther west than Springfield, and then we'll go up to Moberly-Macon area, and then Pacific is probably the farthest, but most of the time Washington area. So it's Potosi. So there's just a big circle there.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good
It's a big
area.
stretch. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the sales guys, do they deliver along with? No, they're
Once
just
in a
working
while,
on
they'll
sales.
deliver something for us.
But you guys have
otherwise-
a delivery guys.
Correct.
So that's where a lot of the employees probably are. How many delivery guys you guys have?
We have 2 that run box trucks, and then we have 1 that runs a bulk truck, or we have 2 that run bulk trucks. So
And then they just have routes that they go on
Yeah.
certain days.
certain days. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So when you guys got the offer or heard about this offer to be able to buy the place, why were they selling? Were they like were they retiring? Were they just doing things wrong?
They were doing a little bit of wrong.
Yeah.
But I'll be nice about that. But
Sure.
it was started by, it would have been his grandfather. And he would have started it back, well, when we bought it, it was early 1900s, let's say. I'm going to say 1930
I would be wrong.
or 40, somewhere around in there.
Wow.
And it started out, they did a lot of different stuff. There was a railroad that come through there, so they were actually sold some lumber at times, some ties and stuff to the railroad. The building that was there, they tell me, was a meat processing place, and at one point in its life, MFA was there at one point in its life. But his grandfather started it, handed it down to his dad, which handed it down to him, and then through generations, you're going to have people that want to be part of the family business. You're going to have people that don't want to be part of the family business. He did not want to be part of that part of the family business.
I just don't think he had the same passion.
He
Yeah.
did not have the same passion.
Well, because I'm very passionate about I'm just very passionate about business, and that's exactly where I'm trying to go in life, and so I'm always like listening to podcasts or reading books or all kinds of stuff.
Always learning.
Yeah, always trying to learn, and I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. And one thing I've learned is that they always say like it usually dies off by the 3rd generation, and a lot of times it's that they don't pass down the passion, like they don't show them, they just hand it to them. And so they don't have to work hard for it, and they don't learn the ins and the outs of it, and why what they've earned is so important. So by the time it makes it 3rd generation, they're just living off of what everybody else worked so hard for.
Well, that's what I was going to raise. When you were saying that, I was thinking, what his grandfather made, when his grandfather passed away, it went all to his dad. When his dad passed away, there was two kids. It all went to them. but there has always been a trust set up. So there's always money there. There will never not be money there. They just can't touch the original money, but anything that the original money has made, they can use. So when you're that way, you don't have to work.
Yeah.
Or if you do, you can do something you want to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
pick you a passion and go and do it because you got this back to fall back on. So you can actually fail 2 or 3 times and you're fine because you still have this to go with.
Yeah.
Until you find your niche or figure out what you're doing
A
right.
lot of times they never do.
And then you're right. Most of the time they don't.
Because something about just being broke and not having something that you have that you want to do, somewhere in that, between being broke and not knowing what you want to do in life, is where you figure it out.
Yep.
That's what makes you work so hard and what makes you figure it out. Like if you have a bad spending habit and you have to go broke because of that, you're gonna figure it out.
That's how
like,
you learn.
That's how you learn.
Absolutely.
And so if you never have to go through that hardship time,
Right.
you most of the time they never learn. Sometimes they do. I'm not saying nobody does, but
we have 4 children that are in 4 different areas of life.
Yep.
And they're in 4 different, total work areas, but they all work. They're all successful. And they work hard, but some people will call me a bad parent because they had 2 choices. When they graduated in May, they either had a full-time job in September or they were going to school. They weren't going to live at the house.
oh, you're kicking them out.
I might not have kicked them out, but they weren't going to be there without a lot of rules because if you give them cushions, they'll live on cushions.
Oh yeah,
And when they're 35, they're still going to be in my house, and that wasn't going to happen.
yeah.
And they're all good.
And the work ethic started really early.
Oh, they started very early with all of them.
Like, I think Cole was working on the neighbor's farm at like 12.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you got to get them working young.
Yeah.
I don't have any kids, but I think that's the fun part to me about, like, whenever I think about having kids, I'm like, I want to make them work young.
And it makes
not
a difference.
force 'em,
So,
but-
like, on mine, they had the rule that if they wanted a vehicle, they had to work for it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you want, you come up with the first half, and then I'll match it up to a certain point. But it's up to you as to what you drive.
That's
If
an
you want-
initiative right there,
Yeah,
though.
if you want a junker, fine.
Yeah.
Just work to that point, and I'll pay the other half. If you want something really nice,
You know, my dad told me the exact same thing when I was younger, and I don't think he realized how hard I was going to work because I earned a lot more money than he thought I was going to,
Yeah.
and he wasn't
I was
able to
kind of
match
afraid
it.
of that myself.
He wasn't able to match it, but he did help me out a little bit, like with just like paying my sales tax and some things like that, and he helped me out in some other fields. But my dad did the same thing, and I remember my dad had me working at, like, I think I was in 4th, 5th grade, and I was cutting grass, and he cut grass on the side. That was like his little side hustle. And I was doing it for free. He's like, this is what you got to do. Like I didn't make no money, nothing like that. And then by the time I hit middle school, they allowed me to, I kept doing it, but I got a cell phone. That was like the initiative for cutting grass then. And then by the time I was in 8th grade and freshman year, my dad's like, you're going to want a car so you can just have these grass cutting jobs. And then that's when he told me the same thing. And yeah, that was what pushed me, because I'm like, if I can earn this much, I was just thinking in my head, if I earn $2,000, I'll have $4,000 to get a car. So that's a pretty decent car at that time, I thought.
Yes.
And so that was because I think that's really big to give people initiatives
oh yeah,
to be able to work
Absolutely.
harder.
I worked for the James Foundation when I was 14 years old. And I either ran a weed eater or pushed a lawnmower. And I picked up trash, but I worked. But along with that, I got a free pool pass. And I could play golf because they owned or they took care of the golf course. So I thought that was a pretty good gig. And I kept working that all the way up till I almost got out of high school. But as soon as I turned 16, canoe rentals were real big down there. So I went to work for canoe rentals too on the weekends. And back in the early 80s, I could make $200 a weekend throwing canoes, which was
Really?
really good money.
That is really good money.
Really good money. Now you had to, I always called it a hustle. You had to run the hustle because you had to work hard.
So how'd you make money doing it? Like moving canoes, how'd you do that?
I had to put people in, load the boats into the water, be down at the end, pick them up and everything. But I didn't like sitting around because I'd get bored. So I'd go across the river to the guys that had the canoe rentals over there, and I'd help them throw their boats up. whenever I wasn't doing anything, well, they got to where they wouldn't hire anybody and just pay me. So I'd have 3 people paying me at a time.
Oh,
and
cool.
I was making $200 easily.
And they didn't care.
They didn't care. Nobody cared because I could do all 3, and nobody
Right.
would care.
Yeah, and they probably just appreciated someone that was actually wanting to work hard. It probably made sense to them all.
Yeah, because they would hire
And he's
people
already
and they would come
experienced,
in.
so there's
Yeah,
No
experience
brainer.
right
Yeah.
there anyway.
And they would hire people and come and go, and they'd struggle, and I'd go over and help them. And it's just like, we'll just pay you. We'll have them drag it up there. You just take care of it. So it was easy, but you could make some good money back then.
So you're from St. James, Missouri.
I was born and raised in Stillville for a little while, and ended up graduating in St. James. But Owensville's my home. I've been there for probably 32 years now. So
Yeah, but somehow you ended back up in St. James.
just by chance.
Yeah.
You know, if I thought that I could have started something in Owensville, I definitely would have, because it would be hard for me to call anything else my home, but Owensville, I really like it.
Yeah.
You know, but at that point in time, there was really nothing, and there's a few more opportunities around St. James. You know, it being kind of an interstate town, so, you know, there's a little more opportunities there. So
I figured that's why St. James, because I think about that all the time, because I want to own some type of corporation. So I think about like freight coming in and out. I think it'd be awesome to bring business to the Owensville area, and be able to employ a lot of people.
Right.
But yeah, you don't have an interstate.
you don't
You don't have that major highway. And I even thought even at least Rosebud would be better than Owensville, because you have Highway 50.
Rosebud, and that's why, you know, you had Rosebud Tractor up there. That's why they're successful. I mean, it's a busy place. Plus, they're good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
they
know,
are.
that's a family business. It's been around, and good people there.
A lot of just random traffic.
Yep,
People
a lot of
coming
random
from St. Louis, going to Lake of the Ozarks,
Rosebud
of Jeff
has
City.
done an amazing job
Yes.
at marketing their town.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, they got some really good people coming in that brought some money in and
Yes.
are actually passionate about what they're doing. And yeah, Rosebud, it's very interesting to see where it's going to end up. Because I remember at one time in my life when Rosebud was nothing. Like you could buy, like there was no business on the main strip. I mean, you could buy, I wasn't in real estate at the time, but I remember looking back and I remember someone that bought a red brick building right off the main strip there, and it was nothing. There was probably Clancy's next door, but this was before I was even in high school. And it was kind of just all run down. And I felt like if somebody would have bought back then, just bought up a bunch of houses and bought a bunch of the real estate in town, you'd probably be doing pretty well right now.
Oh yeah, you'd be doing very well.
Because I would say Rosebud's the hottest market around when it comes to like the small communities between Owensville, Gerald, Rosebud, like that. So
Yeah.
I do like it. You guys don't think you ever move. I mean, now you guys kind of can't move because of you guys' name.
We couldn't. We could always start
Well,
another
we wouldn't
business.
want to.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to.
Oh, I wouldn't move that.
No.
I'd like to start something up this way, but you know,
But it wouldn't be the same company.
would not be the same company.
Really?
No, it'd
You
be
would-
something different. I would probably close that chapter and move on to something else. I probably would.
Was it your cousin, or you say who's in the
cousin.
partner?
My
Your cousin?
cousin, yeah.
Would you think he would stay into it?
No,
you sell out to him?
His deal is we were in together, we'll leave together. So that's the way it's pretty well been since we thought about it.
Would you stay in the car industry?
I could.
Yeah.
That wouldn't bother me because there's always going to be a market.
So I think we're at the point of our lives. I don't know his goals in life. You know, we've kind of talked what you want to do. My goals are different. They've always been different.
I always have.
And I know Tom had said 5 years, but I actually agreed to 3 years when we started. And then I was going to go part-time to pursue my passion. That, of course, never came. And it came to a point where I'm like, I'm ready. Like,
Oh, well.
I need to go.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Can we talk about it?
Oh yeah,
Because you're kind of
she's
dipping into it right now, aren't you?
Yeah,
She
yeah,
is,
I'm ready.
she's a very passionate individual.
Yeah,
She has,
which is great. You should be, right?
yeah, she's helped me chase my dreams, so it's time for me to help her. You know, so I'll support her in any way she can.
Sure.
I can, but
So like, because it's a very similar industry to what I'm in, and so
Right,
I really like
absolutely.
it. And I've been watching you start getting more and more into it, and it's the fitness industry,
Right.
And
Well,
and
yes.
so, what would you
So-
label it differently?
Well, nutrition.
Nutrition.
Fitness, yeah. So I do. I'm like you, I like to learn. Like I am at the point, my kids are raised. We have grandkids that I still love to spend time with, and I have that ability now. But it's time to pursue, what I was meant to pursue. And I'm very passionate about nutrition and fitness. And I feel like the older we get, that the less people become active, and they use it as an excuse. I'm getting older. Well, it's not. The whole use it or lose it it's real. Like,
Oh, yeah.
people need to understand, do you want to stay active for the time that you have left here? Or do you want to be one of those that, okay, well, I need help getting off the chair. I need, for real.
And you're going to have more
don't
time
wanna,
if you are staying active.
right. Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're
Correct.
taking care of yourself.
I think it's becoming slowly but surely it's becoming more recognized that like health and wellness is just something you got to take care of. I tell people this all the time. Going to the gym and staying healthy is just as important as getting 8 hours of sleep at night or eating good.
Right.
Everybody knows they
It
need
all
to
goes
eat
hand
good.
in hand.
Yes, and everybody knows they need to sleep 8 hours a night. But I'm always like, you guys are just neglecting the gym. Like, you don't have to go. But even if you just go for 20 minutes and just
Do
work out, you
something.
feel a lot better. And the nutrition thing is huge.
Yes.
Because people come in the gym and they think the gym is what's going to get them in shape. And I'm like, no, you need to fix your diet. And so that's what you're doing.
Right. And the biggest thing is you can't exercise out of bad diet. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
work that way.
Yeah.
It does
So-
not work.
I've tried. It don't work. It does not work.
Anybody that's tried to work out has tried to work out with a bad diet.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a good eating habit will make you feel a lot better, just in general, and it will definitely help your workouts better.
Yeah.
You know,
And just help your days.
help your days.
Energy, mood, all kinds of things. And I'll let you talk more on it, but one thing, that's whenever I really started critiquing my diet and started eating cleaner and leaner, I just felt all around better. And I got to a point where because I usually in around December, January, February, I try to like cut. I can't do it all year round because I cut out alcohol. I cut out like all just junk food, everything. And I enjoy it at first, but then I'm an extrovert. I like to go out and I like to see people and talk. And so I get to social drinking and I really enjoy that. But I have to stay away from those atmospheres whenever I'm dieting. And I feel amazing because what I do is I will take my diet and I will structure it around my workout for the day. And so like I'll carb load like right around whatever, like if I'm going to work out at noon, that's when I put my most carbs in. And then I kind of taper off throughout the day. And then I'm also eating really good. So I feel great. But then also it takes away from my quality of life. So I have the older
It's your
I get,
lifestyle choice.
yes. And the older I get, the more I don't stray from that diet, the better, the more I'm like, I really appreciate sleeping good at night. I appreciate feeling good in the morning. I feel like you instantly, whenever you're eating good, you don't realize it until you start eating good.
Right.
How like bad it was before.
And mentally,
mentally
how much
too.
it affects you.
Yeah, because when I was working in a body shop, it was, it's 90 degrees that day, 95 degrees that day. I would have pasta for lunch, or I'd eat a pizza for lunch. And I might feel good in the morning, like when I had some good sleep, but then I go eat that just crap food, and then I'm dragging. And it didn't matter how much caffeine I had, didn't matter how much water I had. I was just struggling the rest of the day, and I was just like, I can't figure it out. I don't know what it was. Well, it was my diet. So I really had to get my diet. And once I figured that out, and now I preach that to everybody.
Right.
I'm like, get your diet fixed.
Did you hear Casey and N's trivia question this morning? So it's a thing for us because we go to work together. So the question today was, what do 53% of the people do that make them more successful at the office? And it was exercise.
Really?
Yeah. So that's
can
why
believe
I
it.
try to put out there, all the corporates and the people that are in charge of large groups. That is one thing they need to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you focus on your employees' health and they start caring about themselves, then they're going to start caring about what they're doing.
Yeah, I think so too. And I do think there is some larger businesses, corporations starting to recognize that. And I think it's because I have some I mean, I worked in a lot of factories growing up, and none of them cared about anything. They just cared about you showing up to work and working as
Do
long
your
as you
job.
can and doing the job. But now I have some friends that work in some larger corporations, manufacturing plants, and they were telling me about how every so many hours, there's like a thing that goes over the intercom, and everybody they have the option to. They don't have to do it, but they have an option. Everybody stands up and they have like some stretching routine. And it's like a break, but it's also like try to get them active, try to get some blood flowing,
That's
keep them from
awesome.
just sitting still. Yeah, it is awesome.
is.
And I, as a gym owner, I try to reach out to these facilities and I try to give them some type of package where basically they can get their employees can get a cheaper gym membership. And it's like if these guys, and a lot of them are getting off at they're working second, third shift, and these guys are working. I remember working at a factory working 30 days straight. And never having a day off in between. And, like, you didn't know what your shift was going to be. It could be 8, 10, 12-hour days. I was working second shift, so I would either get off at, I think it was, like, midnight, 2 a.m., or, like, 4 a.m. And, yeah, life gets stressful when you're
Yes.
doing that. It's very stressful.
It is.
And what I've seen is a lot of these guys get off at midnight, and what do? They got to de-wine. Somehow they got to de-wine. So you only have a couple options. So it's either drink, go home and drink
Yep.
to de-wine, or you can go to the gym.
Yep.
And if your place of business pushes the gym, like says, hey, we have a 24-hour gym in this
Right.
area. It's always slow. This is a great time to go. We can get you a good cheap gym membership, and they're proactive in that atmosphere. I just feel like overall they're going to have, because the guys aren't going to be hungover. They're going to be getting healthier. They're going to be just going to be naturally happier. Just going to be living a better life.
Right.
You've made it
important.
easy because your gym is open 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And the package deal that you made at the first year last year is unbeatable.
Yeah.
Even if
That's
you're
why I
only,
did it, too.
Even if you're only going to
great
go,
encouragement.
even if you're only going to go 6 months, it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to buy the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And you
And that's
did
kind of
a
what we did.
you did a good thing
because
there.
In the
Yep.
wintertime,
I'll do it every
it's
year.
harder for us because, like, when it gets cold, I don't run outside, and there's got to be options whenever people like me that are used to being outside and working out outside, now it's cold out and I don't want to work outside.
Yeah.
So it's a great option for people. Whenever you see hey, you can do the whole year for this, it's like, why not?
Yeah, that's why
It's
I
a
tell people
no-brainer.
to that. Yeah, I'm like, even if you only want to go a couple months, if you think you're going to go a couple months, come and get this deal. And I
Right.
started in December, and you can buy it any month of December and then any month in January. And I run that special, and that's exactly why I do it. For anyone that's not a normal gym goer, but they think they might want to go at some point in the year, I'm like, hop on it now. This is the time to hop on. I won't give you
Right.
this deal any other time of the year.
In today's world, you can waste that much money pretty easy
Oh yeah.
on anything.
Oh yeah.
If you quit buying a soda a day, you can pay for that gym membership.
Oh yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And,
that-
how many
and-
people
and
go out
quitting
to
that-
eat and spend $100
Oh, yeah.
in one meal?
Yeah.
A couple of nights like that, and you could have bought a year gym membership.
Yep.
And that's also why I'm in the wrong freaking business because I should be selling something else that makes a lot more money. But I do think it's
It's a public
But-
service.
yes,
It is a
that.
public service.
it's a big reason why I wanted to do it for our community.
Well, you're a young man that looks at the community and wants to give to the community,
Which is
and-
huge for us.
Which is huge because communities need to grow, which Owensville's growing, but when you grow, you sacrifice. And tearing that basketball court up was a sacrifice.
Yeah.
You probably stepped foot on that basketball court.
Oh yeah.
I never did because I came here whenever I was in my early 20s, I guess. But all my kids, if you keep tearing stuff up and taking away from the kids, what are the kids going to do?
They're going to leave the community,
And there's people,
and they're
in
the
this-
ones that are going to be.
There's people in this community that have money and that are buying a lot of things and could do things for the community instead of for themselves. Back in the day when it was custom printing, Don Lennar did a lot of stuff for this community, and Winters,
Not for winter.
Milford left that park in good shape. And that's why we have a good park, because people donated money, left
People put
money,
back into the community.
put back
Yeah.
in the community. That's what you don't see these days.
Yeah.
It's about me, 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 me. Whenever you really need to just, you're not going to be sacrificing a whole lot. You do need to give a little bit back to the community.
Yeah.
And just little things like that,
Yeah.
like what you did.
Well, I'm big in not only that, I tried and I've looked into like SBA loans and I've looked at all this stuff to try to get an indoor basketball court because I think that'd be huge for our community. But
I would love to see a community center.
yeah, well, actually, that's something interesting. We could talk on that too if you want, because I think we probably look at it differently. Because I've gone around and we can touch on it in a second. But I'm very big onto bringing things back into the community that can make it better, especially for the youth. Because
Yes.
I think that's the big thing is I think when everyone's graduating high school, they're looking at our community and they're like, well, what's here? What do we have? What does this community have to offer me for my future? And it's basically nothing.
It's nothing.
Yeah, and they're looking at even just smaller communities around. They have way more to offer, and so they're just packing their stuff up. And these are the successful people that work hard, have good work ethic, who are going to be successful, very smart, tried hard in school, be good employees, could own good businesses, bring other people back into the community. But they're leaving because we're not putting stuff back into the community that are going to benefit the community members.
Correct.
This is going to be controversial, but the police station in Owensville, I think they deserve a police station, but I think they deserved a better pay wage before they got a new police station. And I also don't think they should have spent the $1.12 million building this police station that apparently doesn't even have jail cells. And they could have just spent $500,000 redoing the police station that they had, made it super nice, maybe gave all those guys an awesome bonus for the year or the next 5 years or whatever. And then
Keep them.
To keep them, yeah, keep them happy and keep them around. And then put the money in some other stuff. I grew up a skateboarder, and there was nothing in the community, but there's a lot of kids. I mean, skateboarding is just looked on as like punks, but they have nowhere to go. But like me, I just didn't have anything to do, and I want to be active. I love sports. I love playing basketball, baseball, football, but I didn't have parents that could take me to practice. And so I had to find a sport that I could do by myself, and that was something skateboarding was. And but still, yeah, you have nowhere to like even go to keep proactive in it. And so I donate a lot to the Owensville Skate Park Foundation. I've seen a lot growing up, like what it can do for other communities. And like I've seen, if you go to any other town, look up any skate parks, any other town, you go there, they're not trashed, they're not graffitied up, they're nice because the people that go there take care of them. Mm-hmm. They're cleaned up because they're actually wanting to skateboard in them, and so they're all. I grew up going to different skate parks in other towns, and I still have some friends that still skateboard. I'm not into it no more, but I do know it's like we're in a poor community where not everybody can afford to play sports, or maybe they don't make the team, or maybe they just enjoy that kind of stuff. But I think it would probably cost $100,000 to build a skate park, and they just, instead of spending all that money on a police station that a very small amount of the community gets to benefit from, have kids for generations have a skate park that they can all go to and have another outlet. And it's not just skateboarders, bikers, people that ride scooters, anything. Mm-hmm. Just gives them another outlet of something to do. And I think that's really important. You want to talk about the, what's it called? Not a rec center, but a
Community center.
Community center. Yeah, I would like to talk about that. I think it could be good, but one time I started Wilson Fitness Supply, and basically I was trying to distribute like these Tough Wraps that I sell, mm-hmm. and then Axe and Sledge supplements. And I was doing it to try to avoid the freight charge that I get. I had to spend like $2,000 a time just to buy some supplements or some wraps. And so if I needed one product, it was so hard just to get one product in. So I'm like, I'll buy like, $50,000 worth of product, store it somewhere, and then I'll distribute it locally with no freight charge. And then so I was like, I would always have product for myself, and then maybe I could just make a small percentage off this stuff. Well, when I was going around, I started seeing a lot of these gyms. Fulton's a great example. Fulton, Missouri. There's a guy in there, I think his name is John. He has a 24-hour gym. And this isn't the one community, but this was a really good example. I went to his gym. It's 24/7, but no one was there. And I called the number on it, and John had the number one gym 3 years in a row, voted by the community, number one gym 3 years in a row. And then after that third year, they decided to build a community center. And what they did when they took all their tax dollars, including his, and they built this community center and built an awesome gym in it. And it got to the point where John couldn't, because that community center is brand new,
Right.
and he can't compete with tax dollars. And so everybody was going there because they get a discount for being, if you're a member of Fulton or if you're a citizen of Fulton, you get a discounted rate to go over there. Plus it's brand new equipment. Plus they have the basketball court and everything else there. So John, when I called him, he's like, I'd love to do it, man. But he's like, I got to work a full-time job just to be able to support myself and keep this business open. And then we have people that go to my facility in Owensville that are from Fulton, and I was able to talk to them about it. And they're like, yeah, it is a nice facility, but the problem is that everybody that works at the community center doesn't give a damn about the community center. They don't care about the basketball court. They don't care about the gym. And so now what it's become a daycare. And so they have a daycare area there that you can drop your kids off. They can play while you go work out and play basketball.
Right.
But what parents are doing is they're just dropping all their kids off there in the afternoon instead of paying for a babysitter or paying for the daycare. And you go in, and the gym's a mess. There's kids running around everywhere. And so what it did was it's ruining these small gyms, and it's a fear for me. Because I'm like, I could see Owensville just taking all this money, building a community center, running me out of business.
See, I wasn't even thinking about a gym.
Yeah,
in the
just
community
basketball
center.
courts,
So, yeah,
volleyball nets,
right.
stuff like
Just
that.
something for the kids to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Indoor pool.
Indoor
Yes,
pool.
yes.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Maybe if I could convince them to leave a gym out, but I'm obviously biased. There's going to be people in the community that want it.
I was going to say, but we already have that in the
Yeah.
community.
Mm-hmm.
There's several options for the fitness part in the community, but we do not have something for kids.
Yeah.
Like everything is 18 and over as far as like the gyms, unless you have a parent.
Mm-hmm.
I just would love to see the indoor.
I would love to see an
the-
indoor basketball court.
Yeah.
Just for myself. I would love
And
to do
now
it.
they have the pickleball, so
very popular.
obviously, yeah.
Tom,
So
do you play pickleball?
I do not,
tried
but
getting to go.
I actually watched it on TV, and it looks like it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So St.
But
James opened one now too.
Somebody donated one there in St. James, and if you ever go to St. James, you ought to go and look at the facility they built.
Indoor?
Yes,
Indoor.
Really?
And that's all it is an indoor pickleball.
That's all it is, and it is a huge facility, and I'm pretty sure a family donated the whole thing, and I can't remember. I'm sure it was because somebody had passed away, but
Is it? I don't understand. I never looked into it, but man, I keep hearing it. It's blowing up. Is it like I imagine tennis, but I imagine the rubber ball? Is that
So
what's it like?
It's like a wiffle ball.
I've seen it too. You can't. The ball doesn't hit as hard as
But
a
it's
tennis
like
ball.
a
but
big ping pong paddle.
it is a big ping pong paddle. It's weird, but it's
Is it two people playing?
Yes.
2 to 4.
Or four, yeah.
2 to 4.
Yeah.
Is
It's
there
like
a-
a tennis kind of.
There's a net in
setup.
between.
Mhm.
Is it just as high?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
so.
And the court's smaller.
Oh, but the ball don't hit the ground.
It
I think
cannot
it's
hit
pretty
the
much
ground.
the same
Can't hit.
rules.
So it's like badminton.
Almost.
I don't know. So
You need to. ESPN has tournaments.
I'll look it up.
You need to watch
Brad
it.
Baker,
Yeah.
I know him and his wife get together, I think once a week, if not more.
Well, apparently Owensville has a
Lane
pickleball
Nicks,
court.
Yeah, they do. They do. So they play on days that I work, and I can't get retired enough to go play with them yet. But I did buy the racket and the balls to go play. So I'm hoping somebody will come play with me so I can learn how to
Tom?
do it.
You're not volunteering.
I'm a little slower these days, but I could
Sure.
give it a try.
Well, I think there's a community, there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
group of them that are
Yeah.
playing in Owensville.
Yeah, but they've been meeting, like I said, during the work week.
Yeah, in the middle
and
of the day,
pickleball,
yeah.
I believe, was more established for seniors to stay active.
Mm-hmm.
So understandably why they do it during the day. Kind of like, the retired golf people, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm still intrigued. Anything I can do to have fun and be active. We used to love playing racquetball. The courts started getting pretty bad
Yeah.
here in town. We would try to clean them up as we went, but the kids ended up getting older, and we just kind of
See,
got
is
out of
is that how the community center would happen though?
Yeah, that's good.
That's the fear though.
Yeah.
Is my fear is that if there's someone not passionate in the position, they build it one time. Who keeps up with it?
Right.
Do they make enough money to keep up with it? And
Well, that was the thing, is trying to find the funds to sustain it. So even if we got grants to build it, how are we going to sustain it if people in the community aren't giving back enough? You hate to keep knocking on everybody's doors because the price of everything is going up ridiculous. So it's hard enough for families just to make it, let alone to, hey,
Yeah.
you want to help us out and donate money that you don't have.
Right.
I don't know. It's hard. It's
And
really hard.
the activeness in the community, it has grown. I will say, since I bought the gym, I have seen an incredible amount of people that I've never seen active in the Owensville community before, and I love it. But the money just isn't there.
No.
The money, it doesn't matter how cheap the membership is. They always want it cheaper.
Right.
They're
Well,
always
that's what the
double
main thing.
discounts. Can we package something? Can I pay for the year but pay for it monthly? They always trying to find a way. And the
I
amount
think that's
I get
in
people
every
trying
industry, though, don't you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
how
I'm
many
sure
times
it
do
is.
we get that? Can you
A
go
lot.
any cheaper?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't want to pay the driver to come bring it.
Yeah.
You know?
I've never asked a business to lower their price unless I don't know if I really have. I don't think I have. If I'm going to look at a car on Marketplace or Craigslist, sure. I'm going to try to negotiate the
Right.
price.
But people put prices on there expecting.
Yeah, they
that.
bump up the price a little bit. And the people that are selling it, they don't know what they're selling half the time either. They're just everybody thinks their stuff is the best, so they're marking it up. But when it's a business, you don't go to Walmart and be like, "Hey,
Yeah, you think
I know you
cheaper
want
on this?
$500 for this TV, but would you do $400?" And that's why when people come to me and do that, I'm like, "What?"
Well, if you own a business and you're responsible for your employees, a small business, you have to pay those employees. They want to be paid every week, with a good check. So it's kind of hard, and you do lose business sometimes. We lose business because you won't drop it. But I got bills to pay. I got employees to pay. One truck breaks down and it's $20,000. You going to give me $20,000 because I gave you $1 off on a gallon of oil?
Yeah.
No, you're
Right.
not. So it's people that own a business understand it. People that don't own a business go to bed at night and sleep. I mean, I sleep fine, but it doesn't. But if you think about it, if there's 13 or 15 people that we have to worry
We're
about,
responsible for.
Yeah.
and I still look at them. I don't look at them as employees. I look at them as human beings and not really
When
friends,
we
because you
hire
can't really
them,
be friends. but
I'm very
it's family.
adamant to let them know that once they step in our doors, they're family. And I can give you a list of past employees that are still the same way. They're still our family. Any way we can help out, we'll do the best we can to help them. That's
And
just the
Donielle's Donielle's great at what she does there, and she sees the best in everybody. Even if you don't think there's anything there, she always seen the best in Danny, and she worked on
Danny's
him for
awesome.
for years. You're better than this. You can
He's
do
got a
you can do
passion.
this. You can do that, and it's amazing to see what he does now.
When you see young people with passion, you have to push it. Like you just have to, because if you don't, you're doing a disservice to the community. Because I mean, what would have happened if he would have went off to do something else? He's
community doesn't give him enough credit. I can
No.
tell you that.
No.
no.
They're still seeing somebody from 15 years ago. He's not that person.
Yeah.
And he's a good person, and he
And
has
he gives back a lot.
he does, and he loves that main street.
Yeah.
He does love that main street.
Yeah, he
And,
does.
and he's passionate about that, and you got to have people like that. Donielle, to go back a little bit, there's employees that we should fire months and months and years before, and we don't, because she always thinks everybody's worth saving. She does. And she works with everybody that's from attitudes to finances to, if you just need to sit down there and she needs to play shrink for an hour. She, that's what she's good about, and she's passionate about. So, in the new stuff that she's doing, she's passionate about that stuff, and she'll be successful. And people that work with her, if they just try, they'll be successful, because she does make people successful, and she's good at what she does. So,
Yeah, that's great. That's a great is that characteristic to have.
it is.
I think there should be more people like that. And I'm big on Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is?
Yes,
Gary V.
yes.
And so, I fell into business through Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, I was always like felt pulled to it, but he was like learning from him actually gave me the confidence to go out and try some of the stuff I've tried. But Gary V, he's what really teaches me about gratitude, appreciation. That's the big reason why I have a smiley face on my koozie cups and I wear a hat with a smiley face on it is because of him. And it's not all about the money. It's also about being happy
Right.
and sharing it. And he actually has a thing. If anybody that is listening right now that like is trying to get in the business and like try to learn more of it, he shares business advice, but he also has a texting thing where I get a text from him almost every day, and he says things like, he's like, "You're better than what you think you are. You got this today."
Very inspirational.
Yes, he's always sending
Always
stuff like
ready
that.
to build you up.
It's nothing. It's not even like he's trying to sell me nothing. It's just like he's just trying to build people's confidence and try to like just, I don't know. He's just so great.
Yeah.
He is so great, and I've taken a lot of that, and I've tried to like pass it on too because I love that aspect of it. I think it's more than just for the money. I want to impact people's lives in a positive way,
Right.
and that's also why I have this podcast, and that's why I share stuff on social media and stuff because I'm trying to impact people's lives in a positive way, and I really like business and the things that I do, and I think there's a lot more people that could probably go out and own their own business and do their own thing, and I see a lot of people that are working for somebody else doing something that they absolutely hate. And I'm like, well, you should just go out and do it on your own. Learn some and go give it a try. You can always go back to that job.
Right.
You can always go back to it.
There's something out there for everybody. There's a little niche. Now, some people aren't made to have their own business. You have to have those people that can work for you and be
Some
satisfied
people
with
are
their job.
more born leaders than others.
Certainly.
But
Certainly.
I firmly believe that leadership is something that can be learned.
Yeah.
It's not that it has to be built into you. I think through mentors, you can definitely learn to be put in that position.
Even if you're a born leader, you still got to learn something about
Right.
it. You don't just know everything from the get-go. There's so much to learn about it.
Absolutely.
And so like there's books you can learn from, there's people you can learn from. There's always once you think you know it all, you're totally wrong. And then
Yeah.
there's just a whole nother freaking realm of stuff you can learn.
And that's what I like about the podcast nowadays, where we didn't have them before. You have so much access to learn everything. I mean, you can learn anything now on the internet. It's
from
crazy.
anyone you want.
Yeah.
Like if you look up to someone, you can go find their podcast, listen to them, and find out who they really are and what they really
and
been
what
through.
drives them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what, like the Joe Rogan podcast is a huge motivation for me and a huge inspiration for me because there was people on there that I listened to their story about how they came from nothing. And it's like, okay, there is actually a lot more people that came from nothing
Oh,
into
absolutely.
something. And actually the really great ones did come from nothing.
Did come from nothing.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so that's whenever I started realizing, like, oh, I can do this too. If they can do it, I can do it. That's kind of the way I
Right.
felt it. And I heard it so many times that I'm like, all right, we'll give it a
One
try.
of my mentors is Jay Teagues, and he has a Do Hard Things program, and he does podcasts as well. But one of the things that he teaches is like they have a book club and they read new books every month, and that's, to me, that was it was just an eye opener as to how many opportunities there were. I don't like to read on the phone because I look at a computer all day long. I don't want to sit there and try to do that. So actually having your hand on a book and being able to read it and get that knowledge it was big for me because I hadn't really read, since school.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, it just wasn't a
And
thing.
I
for
don't
me.
like just, like, there's some people, like, actually, everyone in my family loves to read. Mom, dad, sister. But they all like the fantasy, like they like Harry Potter and just books like that, and that never
It's
interested
my dad.
me.
My dad was a Western.
Yeah, my dad read stuff like that too. Sci-fi.
The books, not
Well,
the books.
your
He's
dad
more-
likes
yeah.
science fiction too, though.
But yeah, it's
But I never read like once I started reading books, because this is stuff I like to learn about. And so once I started reading the books like that, that's when I actually got intrigued by them. Because even when I do read them, I get distracted very easily because I'm a very like act on it kind of guy. And so like I don't want to just listen to podcasts. I want to have my own podcast. I don't want to just go to the gym. I want to own my own gym. And so
Right.
whenever I'm into something, I'm just like, let's do it. Let's give it a try. And so there's things I've tried and I failed at, and then I just like, okay, just take it out back. Like the Wilson Fitness Supply thing, I nuked it completely now. It just wasn't it. And maybe if I kept pushing it, I could have made it something, but It just
You
wasn't
know,
taken.
though. You know
I
when
felt
you start
yeah,
something,
in my
if you
gut,
felt
I felt
led
like
to
it
go.
wasn't going to work
Absolutely.
out. Yeah, that's why I just nuked it all.
Well, if you don't fail a little bit along the way, you'll never be truly successful.
And the way I looked at that was it was a very like small investment. I mean, I probably had $25,000 in the whole entire investment, but I'm like, when it comes to everything else, like the grand scheme of things, I'm like, that's not that much money. I can pick back up and move on from it. And it wasn't a total $25,000 loss, but I lost some money out of it. But yeah, I'm like, if that's my worst failure, I'm doing just fine.
Doing great.
So Danielle, what is this new business? Have you fully started it
So
yet?
yes, and actually, we were talking about corporations. I had a meeting today with a lady that's looking into doing her group of employees to do it together. Initially, I've kind of wanted to stick like the one-on-one, the personal attention.
Do you have a name for this business?
So we do template and training coaching, but that's going to be that. There's more to come with that, where there's going to be a branding change.
What do you call it right now?
Template and training coaching.
Temple and
So
training.
we started template and training 12 years ago now.
Yeah. Long time.
We put on like the 5K runs. We do benefit runs. We do that kind of stuff to keep our community active and give back to the community. Where now I'm doing more of the coaching aspect. I always like to surprise people with things that I learn and do. I don't want to sit here and tell you what's coming, because I want it to, well, one, be a surprise, and two, I want to do it efficiently and effectively and not feel rushed to get things done.
You'll do it at your own pace, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have some exciting stuff coming, but I constantly want to learn. So even like I've done the CrossFit training. I've got the certification for that. I am the road running coach for long distance adult running. I have that certification. So anything I can learn, like the CrossFit, my gear is towards like 40 and older, for the older people, like I said, to try to keep them active. But there's so much out there that I want to learn. I just don't want to sit mundane. I want to be able to constantly be able to inform people. So,
Well, it's a great industry to be in. I feel like it's ever learning. There's always
Yes.
something new you can learn and keep pushing yourself and
Right.
challenging yourself at.
I think the nutrition part is big. The older you get, the nutrition
More important it gets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
You can't just eat tacos and pizza all the time.
I always
as much
stayed
as
in,
you want to.
Yeah.
I always stayed in shape, and for like 5 years, I was done with it for a little while and let myself go. And now it's, when you get into your 50s, it's harder to. When I was 30s or 40s, it was easy to get back to where you want to be, and now it's not. It's a lot harder, and if you don't eat right,
Yeah.
eating right is the biggest part. And
And you have a lot of people that have suggestions, I guess, where being certified, like I can give you more detail and something to fit you and what your goal is and what your long-term goal is. I also do goals. So, like, what's your goals? What's your bucket list? Like, I don't want you just looking like, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, well, why? What's your why? What's your reason? What got you here? There's just a whole aspect. You know, I just don't want to know about your diet. Like, let's figure you out as a person and figure out what the best way we can get you from point A to point B. Whether that's in 6 months, whether that what you want to do in 5 years. Kind of like Danny, you know, you see a passion, you want them to pursue it. Okay, what's it going to take? Like, there are so many avenues out there that we can build upon to say, okay, you want to do this? Well, let's see what it's going to take to get you there.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see with people. It's not that I want anything different for myself. I just want to see people around me succeed, and that's my goal.
That's a great feeling too. When you
Yeah.
can help someone else better themselves.
Absolutely.
That's such a rewarding thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So are you going to have, do you have an office? You're going to have an office?
So,
Is it going to be
no, I mean, I work out of my office at the house, but I go to people.
Yeah.
So the main thing is I don't want to be stuck. You know, I have people that I coach from your gym. I have people that I coach that works at Potential. You know, they're just everywhere. And I don't want anybody to feel stuck. Like,
Yeah.
you want to do this, you want to do yoga in the park, let's go do it.
Yeah.
You know, let's do what you feel you are led to do.
Yeah.
Just for you to be successful.
That's great. That is great because there's some people that will not work out in a facility. It's way too intimidating for them. It's not for them. They don't like the people in there. They don't like the atmosphere, something like that. And so to be able to give people that freedom to be able to go wherever they want.
Right.
And maybe they don't like my facility. Maybe they like a different facility. Or like you said, maybe they want to just work out outside or wherever. The fact that you're willing to go and do that and work with them from wherever, I think is going to be a huge game changer. And it almost makes it so they can't have an excuse.
Right.
If they want to
Absolutely.
do it, there's no excuses
And
to why.
I do have it to where I'm going to be able to go into their homes. You know, if you're somebody that's intimidated to get out in public, okay, let's check out your living room. Let's see what we can get done there.
Yeah.
You know, I
Zero excuses.
exactly
Zero
exactly.
excuses.
And you know, it's kind of going to be geared where I don't want to have to just be stuck here in Owensville. You know, I want to be able to go to surrounding communities and do things. I'm just willing to always learn. Like, I always, if there's an opportunity out there that I can do something.
Oh, I think there's a ton of opportunities because you can reach out to CrossFit gyms. You can reach out to just fitness facilities. You can reach out to like therapy companies. There's going to be so many places you can go.
Right.
And I agree with that. I
there
think
is a-
going to
a-
different communities is going to be
another
big for you.
life coach actually that I had spoke with. He does physical therapy in people's homes one-on-one, and he said there's a gap. So after the insurance gets done, they're like, okay, you have 5 therapy sessions this year on your insurance. So they're like, well, what do we do now? Like, we don't have the mobility that we want yet. What do we do? And that's where, you know, I'd like to be able to step in too and say, okay, let's get you there. You know, let's see what it's going to take. I don't want to put myself in a bubble. Like, I want to be able to be there for anybody. If there's something I can do, I want to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm geared towards.
Are you going to be active on social media?
Well, that's where I'm working.
Yeah.
So luckily my daughter, Samantha, does marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we were actually doing today to where she could kind of help me out because I'm not great at that. And I know that's a huge part.
Yeah.
So
It's not a requirement. I do think it's becoming more and more a requirement as time goes on.
It is.
I enjoy it. I love it. Like, it's something that I just have fun doing. I think it should be fun. And I think that, but I do think it's also how you grow a community that's going to follow you. And I think it is also what's going to help you get a lot more business. But if you're willing to travel to these different communities, I see, I mean, there should be no reason why it wouldn't be able to grow.
it's already taken off.
It's taken off a lot.
Yeah.
And I was surprised,
Really?
Yes.
And
especially the nutrition part.
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's a huge need for it.
It is.
There's tons of people you can get certified personal trainer, no time flat.
Right.
Super easy. But to be nutritionist is something totally different. And so many people have so many questions about it. And there needs to be someone that is qualified to do it. Now, being in nutrition, you can't legally tell someone what to eat, though.
So I can give them their numbers. Like, I can break everything down for them. With my certification, I can give them a list of great foods.
But you can't tell them you
I
need to eat
can-
6 ounces of chicken for breakfast.
I can tell them how many ounces of protein they need a day.
Yes.
Protein.
Yeah, but you
So
can't
it's
can't
up to
physically
them to decide
what the food
what.
is. Yes.
And it gives them a list. I have lists of all the foods. The better ones, the ones you want to kind of eat sometimes, and the ones you want to kind of stay away from. Not saying that you can't eat them, just don't eat those.
Which ones are
all the
leaner?
time.
Which ones are cleaner?
Right. So
Healthy carbs, healthy
absolutely,
fats.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you do a lot of macro counting?
Yes.
Is it all macro counting?
So it depends on what your desire is. I can do where you don't count any. I can do where, I got calipers. I can sit there and tell you your body fat percentage and everything. It just depends on where you want to be. There's so many options out there.
Yeah. I think macros is the way to go.
I've been counting macros for a while.
Yeah. You like it? You mean
I'm
you think it's the
one
way
of
to go?
those. I'm kind of OCD.
Yeah.
I like my numbers. I mean,
Yeah,
if I
same.
hit,
I don't like to
I
count.
pay attention to my numbers.
I don't like to count.
And that's what I tell people too when they start. I'm like, if you have anxiety, you're not counting macros. Like, we're not doing that. We want to take baby steps. You know, if that's something that we get you to, great. But we are not starting out there because it
Transition them
stressful.
into it just where they're eating healthier foods,
Right.
and in the better direction. And then if they get comfortable with it, where they're like, all right, I'm ready to take it to another
Right.
level, then teach them macros.
Right.
And that's, she set me up a program, and I'm not a counter. I am not. But I look at the good food, the okay food, and the food that you can every once in a while, but you really don't need to.
Yeah.
So I just tried to eat the better stuff.
No more white potatoes. You got to eat them sweet potatoes.
I've got to where I like sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
He even likes spaghetti squash now.
I do like spaghetti squash. I never thought I would, but just if you try, it'll work. And it won't starve you either. There's enough stuff out there you can eat to keep full.
Oh,
It might not be the
And that's,
cinnamon roll,
Yeah.
Right.
but there's stuff out
and
there.
that's the thing, because there's so many people, I shouldn't say people, companies, trying to sell products and weight loss supplements. I'm not here to sell anybody anything. Like, I am here to be a service. Yes,
wanna help
I
people's
make
lives be
money
better.
off the service. Because obviously I'm transitioning from one company to
you
another.
need some
I
money
have
for
to
your
make the
time.
money. But yeah, I'm not going to sell you anything. Like, this is Whole Foods. This is, you go into the store. If you need help learning how to meal prep, that's what we're going to do.
Cool.
I even offer kitchen makeovers. So I'll come into your kitchen. We'll clean out your cabinets. Like, I'll
Oh,
show
it needs
you.
to be done.
Yeah, I will
If you're
go
making this
through-
transition,
Yes,
you got to get rid
absolutely.
of that crap, and you
Absolutely.
just can't buy it.
No, you're
You
right,
can't
'cause-
buy them pack of Oreos because you're gonna want to eat
You're
them.
gonna eat them.
Yeah.
If she buys Oreos,
Yeah.
I'm going to eat them.
Yeah. Me too.
If she doesn't buy them, I never asked for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can ask our kids growing up too. We just did not have junk food
They
in
come,
our house.
the kids come over to the now and look in the refrigerator. It's like, really?
Yeah. No, if you look
If
at my
it's in
cabinets
there-
in my refrigerator, same way. Because it's just easier when you figure out what you really need to eat to feel better. It just keep the bags of chips out of the house.
Yeah.
Keep all that extra junk out of the house, and just put the healthy stuff in there. When you go in and look for a snack, like right now, I'm not counting macros. I don't have any type of diet at all. Just living. But like I have. My worst snack is Rice Krispies, but I have like pistachios and peanuts in there, and I have like I eat for breakfast. I eat a multigrain bagel. You guys, Dave's Killer Bread. I really like that stuff. Dave's
so
Killer
we do
Bread
the
is
bagels,
awesome.
the protein bagels from there.
I love them, and yeah, I just try to always just have the healthier stuff in there, and then I just don't have an option.
And what people don't realize too is their nutrition makes not just physically, mentally. There are so many people out there that have migraines, and it's caused from the foods that they're eating. I've recently somehow managed to get IBS. So I've had to change like entirely everything I eat to do an elimination diet to see what's causing what effects, which is huge. And that's something, that we offer too. If you're having struggles with your stomach, your gut issues, let's figure it out. Let's sit
Which is
down.
a common
let's talk.
thing. It is a really
It is a
common
common thing,
I didn't
because-
realize it because I'm so young.
Right.
But yeah, the more people you talk to, yeah, that's a very common thing.
But there's so many more chemicals now than what there was before. Too.
Sugars are so bad for you. Even your brain. And the older you get, you really need to cut them sugars out.
Yeah.
And just, it's amazing. If you cut out all the sweeteners and stuff, that it's a lot better. And like salt, I don't put any salt on anything anymore, but everybody wants the salt stuff. It's fine at
My
your
mom's
age.
guilty about it. I'm
It's
like,
fine at
my
your age.
goodness, Mom, chill on the salt a little bit.
And that's one thing I teach people too. There's an app that I'm sure you're familiar with, is MyFitnessPal, to where it breaks down so much now. So people have so much more knowledge when you go in there to see you got high cholesterol. Well, look at what you just had. That's high in cholesterol. Let's work on that. Same way with sugars with people with diabetes, and it just makes it so nice to help people, to be able to click on it and see exactly what foods you would think, okay, well, this protein bar's got to be better for me. Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It is so much worse than, going out and eating a candy bar.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Yuka? It's an app. And you should look at it. Whenever you look it up, if you guys are listening right now, on the App Store, if you guys go to your App Store, it's a little carrot for the picture of the app. And you can take a picture of any type of barcode in the world, and it will break down the product, and it will tell you if it's unhealthy, healthy, good, bad, really bad, and it has like the whole rating on it. And you can even click on it, and it'll break down what products in are really bad.
Nice.
And it's all kinds of stuff. It's a free app. Anybody can use it. Yeah, if you're walking around Walmart and you're like wanting to get some healthy stuff, you're like, is this healthy? Take a picture of it. Find out.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, I have to check that
Very
one out.
cool.
Because I
It's
know
called
like
Yuka.
the
Y-U-K-A.
MyFitnessPal has the scanner too.
Oh, they do?
So you can go in and scan it, and it'll show you everything for breakdown of it.
Oh,
But it
okay,
doesn't
cool.
like come out and state,
If it's
good
bad or not?
bad or
Yeah, you should
anything.
look in
like
the
you
Yuka
have to
one.
actually look and see, check your numbers. Kind of like no different than checking the label. Is kind of what that does. But
And a lot of people struggle with, they don't understand foods, about how they actually work. You were saying something about sugar and how bad a lot of sugars are. And most people, they think like, oh, we need to cut out some sugars. And I remember someone's dad one time, we were talking about it, and we were all trying to diet, and we're like, yeah, we should, we're cutting sugars out. And he's like, you need to have sugars. You can't cut all sugar out. Well, when you eat carbs, they break down into
you have
sugars.
sugars,
So
right?
you don't need to be eating straight sugar, and so, but even this guy was probably 55 years old, but he was not in the fitness industry at all. And, he was giving advice, and it was just totally wrong. And so many more people need to learn about food.
Absolutely.
They really need to learn about food. And before I ever macro counted, I remember eating peanut butter thinking it was protein. I truly did. And I think a lot of people do. They're like, oh yeah, I eat a lot of peanut butter. It's like, well, that's a fat.
Yeah, that's a huge fat.
Yeah.
And a lot of sugar.
And a lot, if you're getting Peter Pan,
Yeah. Honey.
Whatever one, there's that peanut butter, or there's all natural peanut butter. That's peanuts and water. There's two totally
That's
different ones.
nasty.
So for
I've tried
most
the all
people,
natural.
most people, their like splurging thing is like cookies and candy. No, mine is an extreme wrap with honey, peanut butter, and a banana. Super high in sugar, but that's like my thing. So if I ever want something sweet, yeah.
That's what you go to.
But-
You get natural honey?
No, it's the. What is that?
Stuff
Peter
from Walmart?
Pan, honey, peanut butter.
Oh,
I
the
mean,
the one that's mixed.
Yeah.
I thought
we
you
do,
like
we
you
do
actually.
have
Yeah,
natural
no,
honey. We do
it's-
eat natural honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys don't have your own bees though.
No,
No.
our
My
his
brother
and
and sister-in-law do,
does.
and
Yeah.
they're going to be getting.
My parents
better
do it
next
too.
year.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. At first, I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys get some weird hobbies. But now I'm like, oh, this is cool. Because there's a lot of benefits to like local honey.
local honey,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Local honey's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially even for your allergies and stuff like that, because what the bees take in is what they're making the honey, and that's what you'll be, consuming
We actually
too.
have
so.
for our Thanksgiving race, Chris Bilbrey. He does Bilbrey honey bees or something, I think is what it is. He's donating some honey for the race.
Oh, really?
Which is really awesome. So.
It's really growing. A lot of people are starting to get bees, and they're actually very fascinating. I worked for a guy that he had his own bees, and I learned a lot. And it was at the same time my parents were doing it, and they're very fascinating things. It's
text
interesting
our
how they all work together.
sister-in-law a couple days ago, I guess, and I'm like, how did your bees not freeze right now? It is cold out there. And she's like, oh, they don't. They just
hum.
stay in a little huddle. And
Almost
Heck
like
up.
when they hum, or that's what keeps them warm, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they do it
crazy.
either. One time, because this is when my parents first started out, they have their hives and they build them, and I guess you can't have hives too close together. But you also got, whenever they start to grow, you have to separate the hives.
You
They
do.
get too many of them, or they'll just swarm because they have to
Correct.
find
And they
somewhere else.
leave.
And they leave. And I was around one time, and it sounded like a helicopter. You didn't know what was going on because I think we were just fishing. We had my farm, we have a pond or a lake, and we were just fishing, and you just hear it sound like a helicopter getting ready to take off.
Oh, yeah.
And then you turn around, and it's just this massive black dot.
We've
and
had
it's
that
like, what is
before.
going on? and they just overgrow.
Yep.
And they have to go find another place to live.
We actually hadn't even seen that until about a year ago.
Oh,
If
I'd seen
even.
it. I'd seen it a couple of times, but we were at our farm, standing in the county road, talking to a guy, and I was like, I heard something, and I looked, and here come this swarm.
It's noisy.
And I told him, I said, that's honeybees, and
Yeah.
they swarm, and they actually landed in the woods next to us for a little while, but they didn't stay. But I've probably come up on 2 or 3 swarms like that, and it's weird.
Do they nest in like hollow trees or
Yep,
where
they
is that
will.
what they do?
Yep.
Just find places. I remember coming because I guess there's different kinds of bees, but I was scrapping one summer and I picked up like this like old car hood, and it was just a bunch of them underneath the hood, and I bet I got stung 50 times. It was the worst.
Yeah, they'll
thank
go in
you.
a house. They'll go anywhere, yeah. As long as there's no water, getting in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll make a hive anywhere that they want, really, that they feel safe.
Yeah, it's definitely growing. It's cool.
It is.
I don't think I could do it. It's too
I'll
much.
let them do it. I'm
No.
allergic to
Yeah,
them.
there's not
so.
enough. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll
it's
just
pretty.
let them do it, and I'll eat the honey. and-
The guys that just walk up to the hive and they slowly pull the comb out.
Yes.
I'm like, and with just gloves on or just maybe like the hood on. I'm like, you guys are nuts. There's no way I'd be getting that close.
Wow.
Because yeah, I mean, I it's not for me. There's not enough money in it either. So
No.
I'm in the business of making money. Well, you guys, we're about an hour and 20 minutes in. So you guys think we should wrap it up?
Sure.
Wrap it up here. You think this would be good? Before you guys leave, can I get you guys to sign my banner?
Absolutely.
St. James Oil on there, and then sign both of you guys' name.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really
Our
do
pleasure.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having us.
I think it was a great time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and anyone else that's listening to this podcast still, make sure to go like, subscribe, share it on your Facebook. Help me out. I need to grow some. And then, do you guys have Facebook, anything like that for St. James Oil?
We do. But like I said, it's more of a wholesale company, so I don't
Yeah.
know if there's anything real exciting.
It don't really. Well, it doesn't benefit you guys all if they like it. Go like it. Definitely helps grow. Get some
Go
exposure.
to Tipland Training Coaching. That one. will
And
definitely
give
be a
that one
huge
some
help.
love
Absolutely.
too. Share it, like
Absolutely.
it.
Yes.
If you guys need any type of nutrition advice or help,
Let's talk.
yeah, go and do that. So thank you guys so much.
Thank
for wrapping
you.
it up.